I'm Margaret Holloway. I'm an assistant professor of English and the composition coordinator at Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. Clark Atlanta University is also part of the Atlanta University Center. And today I will be talking about teaching and learning with AI in college composition. So I teach mostly composition courses. Our courses are Comp 105 and Comp 106. And for this talk, I will focus on Comp 106, which the research paper is the major essay project of that class. Okay, next. All right, so a few ways to incorporate or teach with generative AI in the college composition class. I focus on the research paper unit. In my research paper project, students complete a research proposal, an annotated bibliography, a digital presentation, and the actual research paper. This unit is typically about half of the semester, give or take a week or two. So they do spend an extensive amount of time going through each of these assignments. So for the teaching aspects, I use Turnitin, the AI report system, Zero GPT, and my own methods to evaluate whether or not students are using AI in their essays. We have a zero tolerance policy on AI in our department right now. And so these tools kind of help me facilitate and evaluate whether or how students are using AI in their actual writing. So that's one way to kind of, check for any sort of intentional or non-intentional plagiarism with those tools. Generate writing prompts and activities. So this will be part of what I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. Using ChatGPT or Perplexity AI to create low-stakes writing assignments to slowly introduce students to AI tools. And then evaluate sources. I taught students how to be critical thinkers and responsible researchers by evaluating the sources that they found on ChatGPT. And the fourth aspect was scaffolding writing and research methods. All right, next slide. All right, so I'm going to show you all the first writing assignment that the students had to complete. This was a discussion board. So for this class, this was an online asynchronous course. And so in order to facilitate some type of community and let them know that it was okay to play around with generative AI tools, I thought that a discussion board post would be a great way to do that. So this was the assignment that I posted. The discussion board post was worth 30 points, and I only had 4 simple steps. They were to review the research proposal before completing the discussion board post. And the research proposal will let them know what I was looking for, which was decide on a topic, do brief preliminary research to see what sources are out there, generate a potential thesis statement, and think about your audience. So very simple and straight to the point. The next step was use ChatGPT, Perplexity, or another generative AI tool to help you brainstorm research topics. And then share those results and discuss your thoughts about what AI tool that you use and how it may have helped you with your peers. So they were required to respond to at least 2 other students in the class and share their results. So again, this was a very low stakes assignment, but it sparked interest, and I'll show you the results on the next slide. So student responses, there were about 16 students in this class, and I have posted a few responses from those students. Some said that it definitely was a good idea to use AI to brainstorm. we become lost or our minds are blank and we have no idea how to brainstorm before we start the essay. I am a new ChatGPT user, and I completely agree with your feelings toward the AI bot. I am not the best at brainstorming, so it has really helped me. A third student says, I feel that using ChatGPT helps me to come up with ideas. When I try to find and think of ideas myself, my mind goes blank. So we're already seeing a common theme here about how students are, hit a writer's block at the very first stage of the writing process, in that pre-writing stage. Their minds are going blank, they're feeling overwhelmed, but they are seeing that ChatGPT does help start or jumpstart their thinking process for that. I feel that whenever we get stuck in a part of the paper, AI can help us get out of that blank space. And then the last few responses, I believe AI apps is beneficial. It doesn't cost us losing brain cells over simple tasks, LOL. However, I do believe it makes us lazy because it has become so dependent. Using AI to generate ideas is definitely helpful and effective. It helped me break down every category of mental health and also gave me other ideas on points that I could make with the research paper. And lastly, ChatGPT was helpful because it gives topics within my topic to brainstorm about. It helps clarify meanings to phrases that I don't understand. So we see one student here who says it definitely makes us lazy because we can become dependent, but overall, they did say it helped in some way. And I do think that using ChatGPT or Perplexity is a strong starting point in the pre-writing stage. If students have, for me personally, I like my students to write about what interests them. Data shows that students write better and perform better when they can relate to, the academic work that they're doing. And so I think having that free all and that you don't know what your interests are, or I have so many interests, I don't know how to narrow it down. ChatGPT or Perplexity can definitely help assist students to figure out which route to take in terms of choosing a research topic and also narrowing a broad research topic. As we saw here, this student says, it helped me break down every category of mental health. So if you think of mental health, that is a very broad topic with a lot of subtopics underneath. So it would be very difficult for a freshman student in a college general ed writing course to write, a 3 to 4 page paper on this broad topic. So the student said it gave me ideas on certain points I could make in each category for a research paper. So we see that ChatGPT can definitely help students jumpstart their pre-writing process by brainstorming, and it can also help narrow down broad research topics. So for that, I really did enjoy seeing the responses from my students. And this simple activity jump-started the most substantial, dynamic papers that I've ever seen them write, because although we do have a zero tolerance policy in our department, I do think it is important to let them know that it is okay to experiment with AI tools, but you have to be responsible and transparent when you're using these. And so I think that the discussion board activity allowed them to ease into tools that they were comfortable with. I did introduce other tools to them, but they had never heard of them, or they didn't want to kind of tackle a new tool that they just weren't familiar with. So they typically stuck with ChatGPT and Perplexity. Those were like the only two that they, were comfortable using. But this simple low stakes assignment allowed them to ease into something because they had, the blessing from their instructor to, do some sort of academic exercise with an AI tool. And from that first activity, their research proposals were excellent. I had them do or find two scholarly sources that they thought would potentially be valuable for their research. And they did not simply rely on ChatGPT to give them sources. They found them themselves. They did the research to say, you know, this is why I decided to select this as one of my two sources. I really like what the abstract said, or they, you know, quoted maybe a phrase or two from it in their proposal. And from their proposal, they moved on to the annotated bibliography. They annotated 4 sources for their annotated bibliography, and I had no cases of any plagiarism or intentional use of AI in their final submissions. And then from the annotated bibliography, they completed their digital presentations and submitted their research, the final drafts of their research papers. For the digital presentations, I really wanted them to move away from PowerPoint because we use it all the time, but that's what they wanted to use. And but the highlight of them sticking with something that was familiar is PowerPoint does have that interactive AI component to it. It'll suggest layouts or formats or different phrases depending on what you type into it. So there is some generative AI built into PowerPoint now that they can use for free because all of the Microsoft Word software is available to them through the school. So although they did not experiment with any new like presentation, digital media tools to develop their presentations, they were still able to play around with the generative AI aspect in PowerPoint. The research paper results. So there were 17 students in the class, but only 15 completed the essays. 10 students earned an A and 5 earned a B. I did not have any students below a B for the research paper, and I was just ecstatic. But I do want to credit these grades to the incorporation of AI tools here and there throughout this research paper unit through low stakes assignment and peer-to-peer engagement. That discussion board, sometimes these discussion boards can get monotonous and boring, but incorporating, was this AI tool helpful or why did you choose it? It really heightened the engagement among the students in the class because some had never even used an AI tool or were too scared to use it, or they, whatever their thoughts were, the responses and engagement among the students was, had definitely increased from prior discussion board posts. And then just their natural curiosity as students and scholars who, they want to know, they want to learn, but it's like, where do I start? And how can I still be a student of integrity and compose writing of integrity without replacing my mind with an AI bot, basically. So I was very excited and pleased with the results. And I think just from those low stakes assignments that I created, from the discussion board post to and breaking that research paper down into several chunks really helped students to not feel overwhelmed with the different AI tools that they work with, but also be able to produce writing where I know that they use their critical thinking skills. They use ethical research practices to produce their research paper. All right, so challenges that I experienced as well as the students. One challenge is integrating AI into first year writing curriculum. So I am still in the experimental phase. I think that it is harder to do this in an online asynchronous course. If I was teaching this class in person, I would feel way more comfortable because I would be able to have a little bit more control over what the students are actually doing in real time. And so it's a lot harder to do that in an asynchronous course. But also in not only in the research paper, but other essays that they write in the class, I'm still learning how to, or if I should incorporate AI in different aspects of those other essays. And then right now, grading is a lot more laborious. It is a struggle for me right now because of the high number of plagiarism cases that we have had over the year. And now that we have the new zero tolerance policy, it has decreased those numbers, helped decrease those numbers some, but the grading is very grueling. I spent a lot of time fact checking, going through my own methods of evaluating student writing, depending on other AI tools to catch AI writing, figuring out if it's a false positive or what have you. So grading a lot of writing is very difficult for me right now. So that's like one of the main challenges I'm experiencing because of the use of AI. And students addressing higher order concerns is a lot more difficult because students, some students, not all of our students, they're just simply replacing what they would write with AI. They just don't really see the value in it anymore. And so teaching and revising content is a lot more difficult for them. And then, like the student said in one of the responses, it makes students lazy and dependent. And what I'm seeing now is that students are relying on, Siri, Google, search bars, ChatGPT for a response before they give their own response because they think that their thoughts or responses are not correct or of value. They go straight to a tool to, what does this tool think? What is the correct answer? And so that is a major challenge for them. Also paywalls and ethical use and biases. A lot of these tools have the free, basic, premium levels. And for us at Clark Atlanta University, we are pursuing globalization, innovative teaching and learning for students. And so we have to make sure that the AI tools that we introduce in our class and as a university is accessible and unbiased for our student demographics. We have Black and brown students from all over the world, and we want to make sure that the tools that they're using are not in any form or shape discriminating, or they're any like racist practice systemic rooted into those tools that they're using. And so that is something else that we're grappling with as a university right now. And then just the hesitant to explore other AI tools, working with what you're comfortable with is always the first go-to for students. And I believe that we will revise our departmental policy, and that may help students to be more comfortable with exploring other tools. But right now, they really don't want to try anything other than what they're comfortable with. So these are a few challenges. Positive outcome, I definitely think AI is a great starting point for for different stages in the writing process. And also it teaches students how to be AI literate, and that is a very critical thing right now. We need students to be have digital literacy skills, but now they need to have AI literacy skills as well to remain competitive once they graduate and go on the job market. And experiential learning. I think this is a great time for us to see what works, what doesn't work, and how to incorporate tools that we're comfortable with as instructors into the writing classroom. Accessibility and feedback revision. So that is a big advantage for especially online courses and asynchronous courses in particular, where I may not be available. They have tools like Grammarly and other tools where they can get, feedback on lower order concerns such as sentence structure, word choice, sentence clarity, and so on. So there are some positive outcomes for both me and the students. So it is harder, like I said, to incorporate AI teaching and learning in an asynchronous course for me right now. I'm going to overcome this challenge one day because I am teaching more and more online courses. I've developed our online blueprint courses for the university in Comp 101 and 102. So I know I'm going to have to overcome that challenge one day. ChatGPT does not teach students the actual act of brainstorming, but it does give them a good starting point so that they can then turn on those critical thinking skills to advance their brainstorming process. ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI, etc., can assist us as instructors in teaching students how to evaluate sources. So a lot of students that I've taught will simply type a prompt. The ChatGPT will spit out a paper and they'll turn it in. Sometimes the sources are in a different language. They haven't even proofread the paper before they turn it in. So that is a great opportunity to teach students, okay, the importance of proofreading, the importance of recognizing if a source is related to your topic or not, if it is credible. You cannot rely on digital tools or AI tools to be perfect. And so you have to use the knowledge that you're learning in class to be able to evaluate a source's credibility, which is a skill that can be applied to all of other classes that students take. It's important to consider students' writing levels and comfortability when planning assignments that incorporate AI tools. A lot of students are not comfortable. And so I think having a discussion about AI and just opening the floor up about tools that they may use can help instructors figure out a good starting point on what tools to introduce, when and how to introduce those tools. And like I said earlier, we do have a zero tolerance policy that they cannot use AI in their essays. But this policy has helped decrease intentional plagiarism and less reliance on AI tools. And it has also given me more time to experiment. So now that we do have this zero tolerance policy, students know that they cannot use it in any of their essays. It's an automatic zero. But it gives us time to figure out what does the next iteration of this policy look like. So now we have a year worth of data. Do we need to revise? What is that updated policy going to look like? So that the zero tolerance policy for us has been a great starting point. And so I'm going to show the next couple of slides, just a few screenshots from the Modern Language Association and the 4 Cs. They're the governing body of composition, English education and communication, and they are drafting a position statement on AI in writing instruction. And these are some of the risks that they've identified. For example, students may face increased linguistic injustice because of LLMs promote an uncritical normative reproduction of standardized English usage. Students may have unequal access to the most elite tools, and that's what we're seeing right now because of the paywalls. We want to make sure that if we are using AI tools, especially in our writing courses, that they have access to the most premium information available. Other risks are for teachers. Teachers may lack adequate support and up-to-date training to understand learning language models, and this is something that I'm experiencing right now. I am just learning as I go. There's no training course or professional development for me right now, and so that is a challenge that I'm working through. And then teachers will need to spend time and energy developing critical AI literacy, which will divert their attention away from other teaching practices. So finding that balance in the writing classroom is also becoming a risk for us. But there are some benefits that MLA and 4Cs have identified for writing instruction. Students can use generative AI to produce creative materials when developing multimodal writing projects. Teachers can integrate LLMs into the writing process and enhance students' rhetorical knowledge. So again, figuring out how to teach how to find primary, secondary sources, how to evaluate those sources using AI tools is a great way to incorporate that. Teachers can use LLMs to provide models of written prose that can be used to highlight differences. So you can type in a prompt, tell AI to write a cause and effect essay about a current or popular topic, and then compare that to a paper that was not AI written, and kind of go through those different aspects of a paper that will teach students about genre, tone, generalization versus targeting your writing to a specific audience. So there are some benefits that we are identifying in our discipline, and hopefully the position statement will be out pretty soon, but they have seen that this is something that is occurring across the country, and they are actively pursuing a position statement to address that and help provide instructors with resources for writing instruction. And so what's next for me? I'm advocating for more digital learning products to include features that teach students about generative AI. So one thing that I really like about Achieve, outside of the actual content that students learn, is that there is a section that teaches students about time management, how to actually be a successful student in the writing classroom. And so I was thinking that I would love a section that teaches students about generative AI in relation to writing. Doing more experiential learning, and I'm thinking about creating my own AI crash course for this semester for my sanity and to help my students. So that is in the early stages of development for me. I don't know how, dynamic it's going to be, but, you have to start somewhere. But that is all that I have to present today, and hopefully you all enjoyed it.